Unlike my usual presentations, this isn't a scientific results-based presentation, so it's a bit different for me. And I'm going to be talking about our New Zealand model of high-performance CPR. And the very two first slides I display are the most important ones from this session, so get ready to take notes. So this is the slide number one, so it's around collaboration. And what we did in New Zealand is that we got together with all of the people who are providing high-performance CPR in the pre-hospital environment. So from our universities who are training our new paramedic graduates, which is AUT and Wharerea, with our fire service, so Fire and Emergency New Zealand, with Wellington Free Ambulance and ourselves, St John. So having every provider of pre-hospital or out-of-hospital CPR involved in the development of the model was really collegial, really collaborative, and we were all on the same page. And the second slide, which I hope you're all taking notes of, is our Australian colleagues and ourselves, who we've met through the Global Resuscitation Alliance, and we got together yesterday and helped out at the ambulance officers workshop, Asia Pacific Ambulance Officers Workshop. And what we did was we got together and formed a WhatsApp group, and between us across the services between Australia and New Zealand, we've been having quite some WhatsApp conversations around, should we be doing breaths, should we be using an LMA, should we be just doing an oxygen mask? And between us, we've all developed slightly different versions of the high-performance CPR model, but we've learnt off each other's experience, and having that collegial discussion and collaboration has been invaluable. So what did we have to decide on as this diverse group of fire, university students, two different ambulance services? Well, should we check a pulse when we do our initial survey? Where do we place our equipment when we all have slightly different equipment? The fire service has slightly different equipment to the ambulance services. What rate of chest compressions do we want? And do we mandate the use of a metronome? What words do we use? Because we all want to speak the same language with true crew resource management. Do we use pause or hover or stop or swap? Whether we tap the hand or tap the shoulder when we're pausing compressions. Do we use no airway, a basic airway, supraglottic airway? How long do we go before we ventilate the patient? Do we do 32 or do we do continuous compressions? When and if do we gain IV access or IO access? So between all of our services, we had to come up with answers to these questions and make a model that suits everyone. So we can have engaged staff and right across the sector, and that our paramedic students who are coming out to work with the ambulance service all know the same high-performance CPR that the ambulance service is providing. So what did we decide? So in the initial assessment for high-performance CPR, we went right back to basics, scene safety, moving the patient to an area where we can all get around and perform high-performance CPR. And we went for, if the patient looks like they're in cardiac arrest, if they're not breathing normally and unconscious, we're going to start CPR. We're not going to check for a pulse. And this decision around starting CPR should take less than 10 seconds. So no pulse check. How are we going to position our gear? Well, we're giving everyone really defined roles. So we have our compressors, we have our defibrillator person, we have our ventilator person. And all of our defibrillation equipment and medicines is on one side of the patient, and the compressors are on the other side of the patient. So that's sort of a protected space for those who are doing chest compressions. And you can see if we have 6 people, we still have those defined roles. And the scribe standing at the feet of the patient is also the team leader. And if we had more responders at an arrest, we'd have both a scribe and a team leader. So what about chest compressions? These are really key in high-performance CPR. So So overarchingly, as you all know, we want to minimise compressions, minimise interruptions in CPR. Well, we wanted to compress at a rate of 110 per minute. And because we're all using slightly different monitors and defibrillators, we wanted to make sure that we all had the metronome at the same rate. So we've got an app that we use which has the metronome set at 110. So it doesn't matter which group is responding, whether it's Fire, Wellington Free, St John, we all have the same app, the same metronome. And all of the other things that you guys are all aware of, proper depth, a third of the chest or 5 centimetres, full recoil, rotating those compressors every 2 minutes, and hovering hands. So we went away from hands off, all clear, everybody clear, let's check, recheck the rhythm, to just hovering the hands over the chest when we're checking that. And we also brought in the shoulder tap and the command pause. As you guys all know, this is how we went right back to basics when we were teaching right across all of our staff, so right from advanced paramedic or ICP to our EMTs and first responders, right back to basics. This is how you do chest compressions, right from where you should position your knees. Actually, we said that the knees are close to the side of the patient, but what we need to emphasise a little bit more perhaps was that when we're hovering and administering the shock, that perhaps we need to move back a little bit with our knees, shoulders directly over the patient's chest and arms locked. And we taught this new version of CPR. So those of you who have been to Seattle or the Resuscitation Academy, they use this technique called, I'm not sure if you can see me, but technique called palm lift CPR, where you're gently resting the tips of your fingers on the patient's chest, and you're completely lifting your palm off, so it's almost like a bouncing technique. So, and we kind of nicknamed that the palm lift technique of CPR, and that's to ensure full recoil and not have leaning on the chest. And when we're talking about defibrillation, if we've got an ICP or a paramedic on scene, we absolutely emphasise the importance of using manual defibrillation over the AED mode and emphasising continuous compressions whilst the defibrillator charges. And really using that crew resource management, so pause or swap when we're defibrillating to indicate that pause in chest compressions, and tapping the shoulder at the same time. So you've got two methods of showing that they need to stop or pause compressions, and hovering the hands not all the way back. So what about ventilation? So we really emphasised throughout this whole process that compressions were the priority, then defibrillation, then ventilations. And this has been somewhat controversial, but we don't insert an airway or start ventilations until after our second rhythm check. And the supraglottic airway is only inserted in the third cycle, and that's when we start our ventilations. So that was a really big change for all services in that space. And we really wanted to emphasise that we're not going to overventilate. We also developed a little rule of threes to help people with their ventilations. So 3 fingers holding the bag, never pausing for more than 3 seconds to ventilate, and only compressing a maximum of a third of the bag. So 3, 3, 3. And never stopping compressions to place the advanced airway. We also use timing lights on our bags, so you can see when to ventilate. They're just like a little LED light. If you Google them, you'll be able to find those. We talked about IV and IO access. Traditionally, I guess, I don't know who was taught like me, but everything had to be done in like the first minute of a resus. You had to get a line in, you had to get your airway in. So we've stripped all of that back, and now it's compressions, ventilation the second, and defibrillation. And then way down in our list of priorities is gaining IV or IO access. And what we've actually said is that IV and IO access, along with medicines, can wait until you've got more than 4 people on scene. So you're really working on those compressions. Similarly with intubation, this is always a bit controversial with our advanced care or ICP paramedics. We again have said that this doesn't need to be done immediately, and it can absolutely wait until you've got more people on scene. So de-emphasising the advanced airway placement and not interrupting chest compressions to ventilate or to intubate. So what does it look like in practice? I'm just going to play a video of our final model so you guys can all see, hopefully.
It looks like a cardiac arrest. I can't see adequate breathing. We've got adequate space. Start high performance CPR.
Push, analyze, connect electrode. Push, analyze. Analyzing now. Stand clear.
Pause.
Start CPR. Shock advised. Stand clear. Push shock button.
Pause.
Start CPR.
Comms put number 1 priority, R49, R50.
Hey guys.
Hi there. We're just going to finish this round of CPR and then we'll get you to swap in. I'm just setting up the LMA now.
Straight there.
And then at this analyze block, I'll move around to the defib.
Cool.
Push analyze.
Okay.
Analyzing now.
Swap.
Stand clear.
Continue
Start
CPR.
CPR.
Have this one in for you. And then your LMA is ready to go.
Shock advised. Stand clear. Push shock button.
Pause. Continue.
Start CPR.
LMA confirmed. Okay, we're coming out to a rhythm check.
Cool.
Charging. Get ready to swap. Swap. Not shock hold, dumping.
Obviously, the most important thing is to have fun when you do these videos. Thank you.